Welcome, time travelers, and welcome, new time travelers. As always, if you're new to this channel and enjoy not only learning about historical events from the US, but historical events from around the world, one event at a time, then don't forget to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into it. Today we're going to start in 44 BCE, when Roman dictator Julius Caesar was launching a series of political and social reform. When he was assassinated, this day, known as the Ides of March, by a group of nobles, among whom were Cassius and Brutus. From what I remember from history classes, Cassius and Brutus were Caesar's friends. I could be wrong about that. On this day in 1614, Francis Severus, whose studies helped shift medical emphasis from mystical speculation to radical application of laws of physics, was born in Hanau, Germany. 1976 brought us military hero and 7th U.S. president. From 1829 to 1837, Andrew Jackson, who was the first president to come from west of the Appalachians and the first to gain office by direct appeal to the mass voters, was born. 1781 is when American revolutionaries won a strategic victory over the British at the Battle of Gulfport Courthouse in North Carolina. In 1875, Pope Pius IX appointed John Michaelis, the first American cardinal of the Roman Catholic Church. 1917, during the first phase of the Russian Revolution, Tsar Nicholas II was forced to abdicate, thus ending the rule of the Romanov dynasty. In 1946, Winston Churchill renewed appeal for Anglo-American cooperation, but denied he had ever aimed at war alliance between two countries. He also expressed belief that the Soviet Union did not want war. That changed drastically. It wasn't war per se, but anyway, in 1951, Assistant Secretary of the Treasury William McMartin Jr. was named chairman of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System in succession of Thomas B. McCabe. 8 years later, in 1959, a World Amateur Hockey title was retained by Canada by Belleville McFarlands at Petit Czech. The following year, in 1960, President Dwight D. Eisenhower assured West German Chancellor Adenauer at a White House meeting of U.S. support in maintaining freedom of West Berlin. We're going to make a quick stop in 1964, when following a highly publicized affair. American actress Elizabeth Taylor wed British actor Richard Burton in Montreal. They then divorced in 1974 and briefly remarried from 1975 to 1976. The following year, in 1965, about a week after a civil rights march from Salem to Montgomery, Alabama, was halted due to violent oppression, U.S. President Lyndon B. Johnson delivered his "We Shall Overcome" speech, in which he introduced voting rights legislation that was passed later that year. 1972 brought us The Godfather, an epic drama about organized crime that premiered to universal acclaim. The Academy Award-winning film was directed by Francis Ford Coppola and starred Al Pacino and Marlon Brando. Moving on to 1988, when heavy snow, precipitation, avalanches, and landslides that claimed the lives of at least 76 persons in Jammu and Kashmir, India. The following year, in 1989, mid-March, an overloaded sightseeing boat carrying 182 persons capsized off the coast of Hainan Island, China. 55 school children and 8 adults drowned. 10 years before the turn of the century, the Congress of People's Disputes of the USSR elected Mikhail Gorbachev to the newly created post of President of the Soviet Union. Our next stop will be in 1998, when an unusually strong and long-lasting Kahasham, or sand and dust storm, engulfed portion of the eastern Mediterranean area from Egypt to Syria. 2 years after the turn of the century, in 2002, a 7-foot bronze statue of John Lennon was unveiled at the airport in Liverpool, England, which was renamed the Liverpool John Lennon Airport. Liverpool was the hometown of the Beatles. The following year, in 2003, Hu Jintao succeeded Wang Zemin as the president of China. Now let's make a stop in 2009, when a suicide bomber kills 4 South Korean tourists at a UNESCO World Heritage Site in Yemen. On this day in 2011, anti-government protests were held in several cities across Syria, considered the beginning of the country's civil war. 2019 is when more than 1.5 million students participated in climate change protests around the world as part of Fridays for Future, a movement started by Swedish environmental activist Greta Thunberg. Until next time.